The currently running shell stores important configuration information in environment variables. They are basically like variables in programming. Each shell has their own copy of these variables, so if you change a value in one shell, the other shells won't see that change. Let's look at the environment variables in my current shell using the printenv command. All of the variables shown have the format variable name, equals sign, and value. Note that by convention, environment variables are all uppercase. You can create one that isn't if you want, but you should probably stick to using all caps unless you are using it in a script. Let's look through and see what interesting information we can see. First of all, we can see that Bob is using bash as his shell. You can also see the current working directory, the username used for logging information to log files, and the home directory for the current user Bob. One of the most important environment variables is the path. The path is the list of the directories that are searched in order to find commands that are to be executed. When you type a command in the shell, it will first check to see if it is a built-in command. If it isn't, it will search these directories in order for the command. If the command is located in more than one of these directories, the one located in the first directory listed will be the one used. If the command can't be found in these directories, it can't be executed. One common modification to the path is to put the current working directory first in this path. This is done to make it easier to execute commands and scripts in the current directory. However, including this in the path could be used by an attacker to get you to execute a Trojan. For example, an attacker could add a custom ls command in the current directory that will be executed instead of the usual ls command. If you run the command with root privileges, you could have just given them complete access to your machine. There are two types of environment variables: global and local. Global environment variables can be accessed by anything executing in that shell. If you create a global variable count and then run a shell script, the shell script will have access to that variable. On the other hand, if we create the variable as a local variable, the script won't have access since it executes in a subshell. Technically, global variables are called environment variables, and local variables are called shell variables. However, you will probably hear them both commonly referred to as environment variables. Let's see both of them in action. First, we will create a shell variable called countLocal using the following command. We can test that it worked using the echo command. The echo command just prints whatever is passed to it. Since the environment variable is interpreted by the shell before the command is executed, the value of the variable is passed to the command. Note that we added a $sign to the variable name to tell the shell that it is a variable. If we didn't add it, the shell wouldn't interpret it as a variable. If we create a subshell, we can see that the variable doesn't exist. If we wanted to set a global variable, we use the export command. Here we see that the global variable exists in the shell in which it was created and the subshell too. If you want to unset a variable, use the unset command. Notice that we didn't use the $sign when we unset the variable. We will use environment variables extensively in many of the other videos, especially when we start creating shell scripts. So ensure you understand them before moving on.